Welcome to City at Work, a newsletter about what's happening in your city government. I'm Tom Laux, show host and editor of this program. Let's find out what's on tap for the week of May 22nd through the 28th of 2023. We had a chance to go visit the skate park in Marshfield, and hopefully they'll soon have a permanent memorial bench and artwork throughout the park in remembrance of a 16-year-old boy named Cam Kirschbaum, who passed away from fentanyl poisoning last year. On October 19th of 2022, a vigil occurred at the skate park to celebrate his life. A wall of flowers and artwork was created along the park fence to help family and friends grieve. At that time, graffiti was also sprayed onto some of the structures at the park. Soon, the spray-painted graffiti will be removed because the Common Council and Parks and Recreation Department plan to replace the graffiti with colorful artwork to remember the boy. Councilmember Mike O'Reilly is spearheading the project and hopes to keep a theme that will help bring awareness to drug abuse and mental health. Let's hear from Mike and Cam's father, Tom, about this initiative. Reporting here from Marshfield Skate Park, hopefully soon there will be a new permanent memorial bench for mental health and drug awareness. There was a tragic ending. Cam, individual who lost his life to fentanyl poisoning last year in October, and you can see the graffiti in remembrance of Cam. And this graffiti has not been removed because Mike O'Reilly, District 9 Alderman, as well as the Park and Recreation Committee, are working on a plan to help in remembrance of Cam, as well as educating the public about drug awareness and the importance of mental health. You're going to hear from Mike O'Reilly as well as Cam's father, Tom, talk about this project. So let's hear from Mike.
Last year, we suffered the loss of a young member of Marshfield community to fentanyl poisoning, and at that time there was a makeshift memorial built at the skate park here that ended up getting a little out of hand with a lot of graffiti and stuff. At that point, the city determined that they had to power wash it and clean it up, and rather than going that route, we decided to try to better the skate park and make it a positive note for the community while still being able to inform about drug use, mental health type issues. So adding some color to the park. What we're looking at doing is approximately a 30-foot by 8-foot high concrete wall that will eventually have murals painted on both sides of it. It'll be lighted so you can see it at night. And then around the park on the chain link fence, we're also looking at putting about 25 4-foot by 4-foot art pieces that will be designed by the community. And we're hoping to get, everything from a 6-8-year-old kid all the way up to a 90-year-old person. Art is in the eye of the beholder, and we just want to kind of have a common theme to get some color in the park and dress it up in remembrance of Cam.
Cam's father, Tom, gives us his side of the story.
It is extremely humbling that so many people want to help and just remember him, but also the education that comes along with it, because that's what we struggled with, Cameron, is there was no other kids like his age that had a story like this to almost scare him straight, and so this is an amazing place for it to be. Like, he spent a lot of summers here. This is why the children picked this place to remember him, because this is where they all hung out. And so it's awesome that his story will be told, and hopefully someone definitely takes heed to what happened to him, because he obviously was an accident,
When this all transpired, I personally just wanted to come up with a better way, a positive way to approach this rather than just power washing it. So we brought it up at council. There was unanimous decision that everyone supported it, and it was a good way to go about it. And then we started working directly with Justin Casperson at Parks and Rec to kind of kept him advised all the way through on how things have been developing, and he is also working with the company to get the power washing done. So hand in hand, we're making our way through it, and we'll be breaking ground on it very shortly. If you do see information come out about this artwork, please share it with your friends, neighbors, family, anyone, because we're trying to generate as much as possible. Hopefully we get enough. If we get a lot extra, we may have to pick from that, and we'd probably get a committee that would go through and try to pick which pieces we'll put up.
With all the generous donations of this project wouldn't come to fruition. So Mike and the rest of his team, thanks everyone for making that donation. The Marshfield Fire and Rescue Department are holding a Facebook public safety contest. All you have to do is share a picture of your child or the entire family practicing water safety to win an awesome prize. Don't forget to tag your friends. Post your photos in the comments section on the Fire and Rescue Department's Marshfield Facebook page by May 31st, 2023. Examples include using pool floaties, wearing life jackets, having adult supervision, looking before diving, and staying away from flooded culverts. The winner will receive a 2023 family pass to Vandy Hay Waters and a souvenir cup. The winner will be randomly selected, and you will be contacted via Facebook Messenger by June 2nd of this year. A police memorial event took place on May 18th, 2023 in honor of law enforcement officers here in the city of Marshfield. Please watch a quick snippet of the event.
Thank you. Appreciate the applause. Good evening. It's great to see so many people out here tonight supporting our local law enforcement officers. We need you now more than ever. I also want to thank Marshfield Police Department, your entire agency. The teamwork attitude that we have only provides a better service to all of you. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Jody. You're great friends, and all your friends. All right. Remember, we've got each other's back at all costs. Again, I'd like to highlight how well our law enforcement agency works together, because some of us know it wasn't always like that, but the teamwork approach has changed so well over the past years that I can't tell you how proud I am to be part of this wonderful career.
On Thursday, May 18th, we had our first of two scheduled capital improvement plan meetings in the council chambers. This CIP is a document that the city sets forth its detailed plan for the coming year's revenue and expenditures, and the city's property tax rate is established based upon the total amount that's levied. The CIP, again, capital improvement, is an important project financial tool. The CIP is an extremely important financial planning tool that is detailed and specific, and it outlays a 5-year plan and serves as a blueprint for future capital spending. Let's hear from staff and a few of the council members about the CIP projects that took place at its first meeting. The next meeting will be June 1st, so mark your calendars.
Just give a little bit of a primer on the CIP process, especially for those of you who are new. I know some of you have been through this more than a few times, but the capital improvement program is we always call it our second most important financial document of the year, the first being the annual budget. The budget is a fixed document. When we assign how much we're going to spend and take in revenue, that is something that we deal with. You see budget resolutions during the year. If we make changes, it's something that we need to adjust in a formal process. The 5-year capital improvement program is more of a fluid document. You'll see from year to year, those of you who've been around, that there might be a project slated for 2024, and then a year or two later, it's been backed up to 2026, and then maybe it's moved up to 2025 the next year. A lot of the street projects in particular depend upon the conditions that we're experiencing and seeing after freeze thaw, and compared to other projects that might be higher or lower on the pecking order. We do prioritize them at staff level. The intent is to try and do the most important things first, obviously, and the most important things that we look at are keeping up our facilities as they are today, maintaining them. So before we look at new improvements, we look at trying to make sure that the streets and facilities, buildings, parks that we have are being properly cared for. That is our number one function, and obviously was a tight financial environment. So you'll probably see evidence of that along the way.
Marshfield Utilities had an open house also on Thursday. It was a very busy week last week, and they teamed up with Mackey, Marshfield Area Chamber of Commerce and Industry for their ribbon cutting of their new building. Underneath the viaduct along Veterans Parkway should be opening later this week. They just need to fine grade an asphalt patch underneath that bridge. McMillan Street at Lincoln Avenue is now open to the public after utility connections were made to Quick Trip the past 2 weeks. And No Mow May continues till the end of the month. So we only have about a week left, and then you're going to have to get that lawnmower out and start cutting. The Plan Commission will revisit the chicken ordinance at their next meeting in June after their discussion took place at the last meeting on May 16th. 2023. Let's take a look at what was happening at that meeting.
But at the April 18th meeting when this issue was discussed, the commission did direct that there be a really active and aggressive, if you will, effort to try and get public comment and feedback on the proposed ordinance. So in working with Communications Director Tom Laux, he brought out all the different platforms we use. You know, we have a number of platforms like a Facebook, website, all these things. But also he used a new tool called Public Input. This is a software we've got tied in recently that allows us to conduct surveys. And you're going to see a lot more of these on behalf of the city and for the council and others with respect to how people feel about our services, how they feel about, taxes, how they feel about amenities, whatever it is. We'll get the input from what people are thinking and share it as these discussions are being held. So this particular instance, we had, believe it or not, 3,135 responses to the survey. Now you say, well, we only have 19,000 residents. One of the things that Tom had to do when he's done some work on is trying to nail down how many of those are specifically from Marshfield. And that doesn't mean that we're not concerned with people in the surrounding area, people who live just outside the city limits, and others who have concerns about topics in this community. Some of them may have been farther away than that. We've tried to filter those out as best we could, but this is a real sense of how people view about the issue. So just touching on the results real briefly, 3 questions were asked. The first one was, I am interested in housing chickens on my property. 55% said yes, 40% said no, and 6% said undecided. Doesn't add up to exactly 100%. These are rounded. But that's what we got in terms of how people responded to that question. Another question was, if permit guidelines are created to house backyard chickens, what considerations are important to include? 78% said the number of chickens, 75% said cleanliness, 67% said hens only, 44% said location on the property, 33% said permission from their neighbors, and 30% said no selling of chickens, and 23% said visibility to the general public. The final question was a response, yes or no. I am comfortable having my neighbors house chickens on their property. 60% said yes, 40% said no. There were an incredible number of comments. You've seen them. And for those in the audience or those who might be watching at home, you can see this online, this entire memo that I just read, plus all the responses, 30 pages total. You can find that in the agenda packet for tonight's meeting.
I will make a motion to move forward with allowing the chickens in the city with regulations that need to be decided upon that we've kind of discussed here tonight.
And Alderman Riley seconds the motion.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
Was
Yes,
there a
Franklin.
second? I was seconding. Oh.
Okay. Thank you. Alderman O'Reilly second, and
Okay,
then
good.
Franklin second again.
Oh,
So we have 2 seconds, and that's great.
Sorry, no,
We'll
we
take
don't
2
need
seconds
seconds.
over 1 of
I just
nothing.
didn't catch the first
That's
one.
quite all right.
That's okay,
Absolutely. Any other discussion?
So just a question, this will come back to this, or it goes forward to?
Well, it
No, it'll come
depends
back-
upon how we vote. When,
yeah.
right.
If it's affirmative, it comes back.
Here's my intention, and Bryce, feel free to jump in as well. My intention is if this motion passes, we bring it back to this body for the next meeting, if that's what your desire is, and maybe highlight some of the specific points from the ordinance that have been batted around in the last couple of meetings, last month and this month, and take a look at the particulars and see if there's agreement on those or whether there needs to be some tweaking, but that type of thing. Maybe highlight some of the key provisions of it.
So we would vote on those provisions, seriatim one at a time? What would be your process?
Potentially, yeah. I haven't really thought it through. This is not normal for us to come to this conclusion that we're going to do it like this. It's almost a la carte maybe, but you could decide from discussion what you wanted to include and what you wanted to maybe not include that's in there currently in the draft. For example, you could decide that you love the ordinance the way it is, but you don't want to have the requirement that says that they need all the abutting property owners to agree, maybe 75%, or maybe that's taken out entirely. You could do that with each element that you found potentially concerning.
And if I could just touch on that, yeah, I would agree that this could come back as another discussion item at the next meeting where we can kind of highlight some of the key features. The one thing that I would recommend to you, Steve, is to maybe just give an update to the Common Council that, you know, the Plan Commission is generally favorable in moving forward. Now we're just kind of working out the details, but maybe just provide a quick synopsis of kind of what's been discussed.
That's a really good point, Bryce. I will do that. And yeah, the council did want to know within 90 days whether or not this was likely to happen. They wanted a report. And the general consensus of this body right now is that you'd like to see an ordinance going forth to the council for consideration. And so I will tell them that.
Does that take a vote, Steve, after the motion and second?
Oh, if this is approved, then if we haven't voted, yeah. I'm getting ahead of myself. We've been talking with that phrase, if. Yeah.
So we're voting on the fact of us coming back next month and kind of ironing out all of the bumps.
Yeah,
Sort of?
the way I have it, and I'll probably watch the tape again, but Mary's motion is to be supportive of the idea of having an ordinance to allow chickens with the regulations specifically to be worked out yet.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
Oh, one no? More than one no? One no? Okay, thank you.
The Marshfield Fire and Rescue Department is also excited to present its Youth Fire Setter Invention Prevention Program. The Marshfield Fire and Rescue Department is excited to present its Youth Fire Setter Intervention and Prevention Program. This program identifies, guides, and provides resources to children demonstrating fire setting behavior. Well, let's find out more in this interview with Tony Fighter. The Marshfield Fire and Rescue Department's Intervention and Prevention Program kicks off Arson Awareness Week, May 7th through the 14th.
My name is Tony Fighter. I am the coordinator of the Youth Fire Setter Intervention and Prevention Program with the Marshfield Fire and Rescue Department. We educate the youth of our community on the risks of fire setting. When a youth has been suspected of fire setting, we generally will schedule a meeting with them and their parents and try to figure out their behavior on why they were setting fires. And then we also determine if more need is for another healthcare provider to step in, such as like a psychologist or somebody like that.
This program guides and provides resources to children who have fire setting tendencies.
Anytime a child exhibits fire setting behavior, we try to have them come in and we schedule meetings with them and try to provide education to them anytime fire setting behavior occurs. And what actually sparked our program to be revamped and to build off of what was built by retired Lieutenant Bernie Benning was to a child that was playing with Kleenex and throwing it out his window, and he actually started bushes on fire in front of his house. And that's what sparked us to want to continue on and improve our Youth Fire Setter program.
The department currently has 5 firefighters that are trained in this area to help your child.
Parents can do to help alleviate the fire setting risk behaviors within their own home. Some things that they can do would be to try to keep matches and lighters out of sight, try to teach the child on how to safely use candles and not letting children, younger children even use lighters, matches, or candles. Teaching children to tell a parent that they found matches or lighters. Teaching your children that even small fires can become big fires. So that's a major hazard. Other things that parents can do would be to, if they smoke, always keep their matches or lighters in their pockets so the child can never find them.
I want to thank you for staying tuned to City at Work We'll have another episode next week. Thanks again for watching.